Call it Red Oak.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know what that is?
Yeah, I know Red Oak. Yeah.
Okay, so
Sweet
that's
Home,
cool.
Higgins Switch,
Okay,
all that.
okay, so they call it Red
yeah.
Oak. So that made that's where we were. Jermaine grew up in that area, and so we were there until we moved out this way. Let me tag you, and then we gonna get ready. Good morning. We're doing all the formalities. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to Coffee and Conversations with LaKisha. I'm going to tell you about my special guest in just a second. But you guys know that I like to read a scripture first. And today's scripture comes from the book of Judges. And I was trying to think of something that fit you. And it was like Judges, the 2nd chapter, the 16th verse. It says, "Then the Lord raised up judges who delivered them from the hands of those who plundered them." And even though Frank is not a judge, he is definitely a man of influence, and I think definitely effective for our generation, and I appreciate you. I'm going to start with you like I do everybody else. Tell me, who is Frank Scott?
Frank Scott is a young man that's born, raised, still resides in Southwest Little Rock.
Okay.
A product of the Little Rock Public School System. A graduate of the best high school.
I have to give you that.
Hell, the red, the white,
and the blue. Parkview, yes.
Parkview High. Went off and left Little Rock to go to college at the University of Memphis.
Okay.
I'm one of those individuals that at first I really did not want to go to college, but I had a mother that demanded that I do.
What did you want to do?
I actually really had thought a lot about going into the Air Force.
Okay.
And so I had an uncle who was a Master Chief Sergeant in the Air Force, and I just kind of idolized him for what he was doing as for our country at that period of time. And so ultimately I decided to go to college at the request of my mother, and one of the best decisions that I made, because it took a shy young man at the time to help me kind of figure out who I was as a person.
You're shy?
Oh, very shy.
That is hilarious, because I've never encountered this shy you, so that's funny. I guess because when I see you out, we're at events or things.
Yeah.
And so you have to be public, but I've never seen that shy you, so that's pretty funny.
I mean, I'm pretty shy, but I know how to turn it on when I need to turn it on.
Okay.
But really gained a lot of great leadership skills and experiences while at the University of Memphis. Came back home, started a business career at Target Distribution Center for a couple of years.
Okay.
Then ultimately had a political bug and started campaigning for then Governor Mike Beebe. He was a Democratic candidate that ultimately won. Then I joined his administration as a public policy advisor, ultimately becoming his deputy director of policy and director of intergovernmental affairs.
Okay.
And then I decided to get my MBA while working at night with Governor Beebe from UA Little Rock. So I got my MBA there.
Okay.
And wanted to get back into business. And so I started working at First Security Bank, and I've been there now 6 years, where I'm a vice president focused on commercial lending, which is basically issuing business loans to businesses, and strategy. And then in 2013, Governor Beebe asked me to join the Arkansas State Highway Commission, making me the second African American. The first was Rodney Slater, who later became Secretary of Transportation. And so I did that into 2017, and through a lot of prayer, I decided in September of 2017 to explore this run for mayor of Little Rock, my hometown.
That's big. That's really, really big. So let me ask you something. How old are you?
I am 34.
34 years old. I was calling him a youngin' earlier.
I'm an elder millennial.
He's an elder millennial. We both graduated from Parkview, and I was asking him what year, and he's like 2001, and I'm like 1991. I am 10 years your senior. So
you're wiser.
I'm wiser. Okay, I'll take that. I'm wiser. Tell me this process of discovering yourself, because I do children's and youth ministry, and one of the things I find sometimes is that young men don't kind of know their way or who they are. What helped you discover who you were, or this political side? What scratched it? What woke it up?
Again, I was a shy person, and as I look back, if I would say, what would I do again if I was 18? I would tell my younger self, it's okay to be different.
That's good.
And
that's real good.
And I didn't realize that, so I was always trying to do different things to fit in, but then realize who I was as a person. And so once you figure out who you are as a person and you understand your purpose, you don't worry about anybody else. And so I think you have to always figure out who your inner person is and follow that and be okay, because God made you that way.
Yeah, and I think that's essential. I have 5 sons, and we talk about that all the time. And so in raising my sons, because my span is, my other son is 25, and then my baby is 8. But one of the things that I've tried to keep them is to keep the individuality of who they are in our house, with Christ as the center, but the individual. So one of the things that I've been watching or studying you is I keep hearing this thing about potential and Little Rock. Tell me what that means for Little Rock. Why are you so focused on potential?
So potential is, many times, you should always want to know why an aspiring public official, why they are running. It's always about the why. And so for me, the reason why I'm exploring this run for mayor is about potential. Because as I look at myself and understand where I come from in Southwest Little Rock.
The S-Dub, and I grew up in Southwest Little Rock. So I love that, the S-Dub.
And so when I really think about, God has truly blessed me. But I'm not special at all. I'm not special.
Why do you say that?
The reason why I say I'm not special is because when I talk about potential, the only difference between me and the brothers and sisters I grew up with in the S-Dub is, in many occasions, they got caught and I didn't. And so when I came back from college, it was a lot of individuals who saw some potential in me, and they invested in me and helped me to kind of navigate this system in the real world. That's not the same for everybody. I want to make certain that we positively disrupt this system in Little Rock, that no matter who you are, no matter where you come from, that you have an equal opportunity to be successful, and that your potential can be realized right here in the city. Because many times, a lot of folks, their potential isn't realized, and so what happens? They move to Memphis, they move to Dallas, they move to Atlanta, and so we have so many people who are so talented in Little Rock that we all grew up with, we went to high school with, that they had to decide to leave Little Rock. But guess what? They all want to come back home.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to come back home.
And we need them to come home.
And we need them to come back home, because that's how we take Little Rock to the next level, when our talent is being utilized. And so it's about our potential, and I know Little Rock has not reached this potential.
I agree. I totally agree with you. When I travel, when I'm in other cities, when I see shifts, economic shifts and changes, I know I was talking to one of the black doctors here, and he was saying, I don't have a successor, and that's going to change our community. And so if Benton retires, Lewis retires,
if Dr. Harron retires,
who is
Dr.
who's the up and coming behind them? And you're right, a lot of people leave and go practice in other states. And we need
Dr. Williams. And the thing is having that succession plan, because those doctors that we've named, not only are they doctors, they're community leaders, they're centers of influence. They're doing more than just their healthcare ministry. They have entrepreneurship ministry. And so we have to make certain that succession plan continues on, because that means we all will thrive, grow, and prosper.
Yeah. So now I'm not gonna say risky, and for me, listen, for me,
I said you can ask me whatever you want to ask me.
I know you told me that. For me, Little Rock is still segregated in so many ways. For me, just for me.
For me too.
Okay. Good. How are you, or what would be a plan of yours to help bridge that gap? Because man, we need to progress more.
So when we talk about potential, the question is that just a lofty word? How does Little Rock reach that true potential? You do it through 2 ways: unity and jobs growth. Growing up in Southwest Little Rock, just like you, the very first time that I went to Hillcrest, I was 21 years old.
Oh wow, probably me too.
Yeah, because I just grew up not going past Park Plaza Mall. And so when I was in the real world, working with some of my fellow counterparts who don't look like me, I realized, guess what? They never went past Park Plaza Mall the other direction. And so we are all living in these many cities within Little Rock, not talking to one another. And we wonder why we have this discontent. We wonder why we have this disconnection. And when we have discontent and disconnection, you can't have unity. If you don't have unity, you're not going to be able to grow.
Correct.
And so I think we have to figure out, how do we move forward? What kind of unity policies do we set? One of the things I've been really talking about is, what are we going to do with War Memorial Park?
That's big.
And so what I would love to see is us to repurpose and reconstitute War Memorial Park and make it a regional youth sports complex. Because
that's real big.
And also kind of have take care. let's leave alone those 18 golf courses, move them out, and create our own Piedmont Park. And so what I've always realized, many people come together and unify under sports, entertainment, and food. And I think that's a great way to bring our city together by figuring out a solution for War Memorial Park.
That's big. That's real good. I want to talk a little bit about character and integrity and being a man of God and moving into politics. Sometimes you hear people or you see people, and I'm not saying someone is not a Christian, but how do you keep the character integrity in place in a sphere of influence where politics have been tainted? How do you keep the character integrity in place, knowing that at the end of the day, you are responsible to answer to God?
Right.
You answer to the people, but you answer to God. How do you keep that character integrity in place?
Prayer.
Okay.
I mean, it's a struggle. We're all human.
Correct.
We're all human.
Correct.
We're all tempted. As you know, I'm an associate pastor at Greater Second Baptist Church in Southwest Little Rock on Guy Springs, 5615 Guy Springs Road.
He's plugged.
Hey, if you want to come on Sunday, we welcome you. Welcome there. We definitely want to make sure that you come.
That's good.
But I think I have a unique responsibility as being a man of faith in the marketplace, but also a man of faith in the public square. And that's not throwing a Bible at anyone. What it is making certain that there's a spirit of integrity and character, temperament, but above all, love. And so I'm going to be tempted, just like any other man or woman is going to be tempted. But what grounds me is my faith. What grounds me is my prayer. And I just thank God for grace and mercy.
Yeah, that's good and that's big. And I think it's important because in potential, somebody's watching you, right?
Somebody's.
Yeah. Literally, someone is going to see you. Someone's going to aspire. Someone's going to look after you. And that's my thing always in my house, even dealing with my kids. I set the example. I do not believe in giving them words out my mouth and I don't live by it. So if I tell them I'm going to do something, and that you're now this when this race, at the end of this, whatever the decision is, you've still advanced publicly. And whether we want to or not, we become someone's hero, we become and somebody
and we have to understand
us.
that our life purpose is many times not meant for ourselves but meant for other people.
Oh, it's not. Yeah.
And so we have to understand that, you know, what you do right now is there's other aspiring entrepreneur women are looking at you like, you know what, I need to get off the couch and do what LaKisha's doing right now, and stop thinking about it, stop talking about it, but start doing it.
And start moving.
And we got to move because not to get too preachy, but you know, God responds to faith in motion.
Yes, He does.
And so it's time for our generation to start moving.
Yes.
I mean, it's time for us to really start moving. If you want to become an entrepreneur, become an entrepreneur. If you want to become a media mogul, become a media mogul. If you want to run for elected office, go run.
Run for elected office. And I definitely believe in that. I think you don't take a day for granted. So let's talk money or economics.
All right.
What does that look like for you, for Little Rock? Because there is so much potential for us to grow. And I think we got excited when downtown shifted a little bit, and we thought that was the end of it. But yesterday I was driving through Southwest Little Rock because I had to speak over there. And because I hadn't been over that way in a long time, and I just kind of got sad, you know, and was like,
yeah.
wait a minute, this is where I grew up. This didn't look like this when I grew up. What has happened here?
Do you remember folks used to cruise on Guy Springs
all
Road?
the time?
Yeah.
All the time. Guy Springs was the spot. This area was the spot. And I know culturally there have been some changes in that area. But how do we fix those pockets that are not developing and growing?
So what we have to do in economic development as mayor, we have to be intentional in any and everything. One of the things that I would love to see being done is in economic development, you first have to lay a foundation, and you lay that foundation by improving the infrastructure. And so improving infrastructure helps build out a canvas for the private sector to develop and to color in, to bring jobs in. And so I think one of the things as mayor, I want to focus on a very broad infrastructure improvement plan that helps with water and sewer. As you know, Southwest Little Rock is heavily flooded and things of that nature with their water and sewer. I want it helps with roads, helps with any other type of development that will help bring private developers and builders to build, because once you start building, once you start developing, that's now sales tax revenue. Sales tax revenue is what pushes the city forward. But in addition to that, the city of Little Rock needs to have a comprehensive urban plan for the entire city. And so we need to cast that vision, what we want downtown to look like 20 years from now, what we want Southwest Little Rock 20 years from now, what we want the South End, the East End, West Little Rock, and therefore. And so as we're doing those things, that's what yarners yields development going forward. And then secondly, we have to figure out how do we expand technology and innovation. The next sector, it's time out for that. We're going to recruit a company here. We got to start building our own, growing our own,
agree.
and figure out how do we take a lot of the development that's coming from UA Little Rock with their emerging analytics, the development that's coming from the bioventures at UAMS. Literally, we could have an economic development triangle of technology and innovation. But I think about now you got Mario Settles and Darius Walton who are now doing Truck Please. It's basically like a moving Uber. And so how do we make certain that not only the technology and innovation space is moving and growing, but make certain that it's fully represented in what Little Rock looks like. And so we got to have more minority entrepreneurship and development and make certain that we are plugging folks in with those who may have a little bit more experience, may have a little bit more connections and more capital. Because you can't do anything without capital. And so I understand that as being a banker. And so we have to figure out what are our assets. And so the assets of Little Rock are not only those things. We have a Little Rock Airport. We have a Little Rock Port Authority. We're connected to Interstate 40 and 30, the most travel, distribution, commerce. We have a lot to do. And so as mayor, I want to be the chief growth officer. I want to sell this city not only in Arkansas, but to the world.
Yeah, that's good,
so
because that's your role.
That's the role.
Yeah, and I don't think people understand that. They're just like, he's the mayor. They don't understand not so much the power, but the influence that you have to change. I've seen cities, smaller cities, Pine Bluff. I actually attend church in Pine Bluff. I've seen.
We need you to come now, Greatest Second Baptist.
He's like, he's like, get over here to Greatest Second Baptist. When I leave here,
come on back to Southwest Little Rock.
When I leave here, I'm actually headed down to conduct a children and youth ministry workshop for them. But the thing becomes, I've seen what happens to cities who don't have strong infrastructure, who don't have strong economic development plans, and they kind of coast, and then all of a sudden they dive and die, and we think, no, that never happened to Little Rock. But if we don't have a vision of 20 years or of expansion or what this looks like from a technological advancement, we'll get stagnant, and we won't see the potential of what we really can be.
But in addition to that, one of the great things, not only do we have technology and innovation, not only do we have the assets of the Little Rock Airport and the Port Authority and the access to Interstate 40 and 30, well, we have to realize Little Rock is an epicenter for healthcare.
That's good.
20% of the Arkansas gross domestic product is right here in the state capital city. We are the capital city. We got to start acting like it. And we got to start bringing these synergies between the technology innovation space and healthcare, we can create these next companies right here.
That's good.
For Judah, for Josiah, for everybody, for right here.
That's big. That's really big. I want to ask you this. Being a man of faith, and I think as Christians or people of faith, sometimes we forget our role in politics. How do you convey that message, how important our vote is, or how important it is for us to be involved in our political? Because God, this marketplace, you mentioned, I believe in kingdom. I walk Christ out, but I preach kingdom. And one of the reasons I believe in kingdom is because that's what it said. The kingdom of God is at hand. And we all have our spheres of influence. As Christians, I think we're a little bit reserved in the area of politics. So what would you tell us of how to get better involved or become more educated or become more knowledgeable about what's going on in our political arena?
Well, first and foremost, as Christians, I think we abide by two main ordinances. That's loving God and loving others. And so to love others, love is an action word.
It is.
And so if God
is speaking my language, they know how I feel about love. That's big.
Love is an action word. And so we're here on this world. God has given us these blessings of the city of Little Rock. And he wants us to get busy. And so to get busy, we first have to become educated what's going on around us, understands how these policies affect not only our households, but other households. And if you truly love everyone, you want to be very intentional about how do we bring everybody up together at the same time.
That's good.
And so what I would encourage everyone is not only, first and foremost, go vote. That's number one.
But when you registered to vote,
get registered to vote, go vote, but also know exactly what you're voting for.
Yeah, that's good.
And understand the downstream ripple effects of those votes at the same time. And so it's like, figure out, you should know who your state representative is.
Yeah.
You should know who your state senator is.
Yeah.
You should know who your ward city director is.
No, it's
I
big.
dare say you should know who your mayor is. And so a lot of folks may or may not know that. And so if you don't know that, let's go figure that out.
Mm-hmm.
And then let's start asking these questions. So that's something you could be doing right now, and I know you're doing it right now, is educating the voting masses, because
That's big.
as we're seeing what's been going on around the nation, there are a lot of things that have been impacting this nation based off of a differential of 400 or 500 votes. So your vote does matter. It does count. And you have to get out and vote.
Yeah, I remember the mayoral race for Atlanta, because the vote was so close, they recalled a recount. You know, this is the year of the LaKishas. That's what I always say. And so when she won,
Atlanta got a mayor named
Keisha, man, you don't get no better than that. I told when she won, I was like, this is the year of the Keishas. But I remember they recalled her vote because the count was close.
It was like
789.
She won by 789 votes.
And
then they
recounted
recounted. It was like 2,000 votes.
Yeah.
So it was a close vote,
Yeah.
nonetheless. But she made certain that her voters knew exactly what she wanted to do.
Yeah.
And so what I want to share with your viewers, what I want to do is make certain that we unify this city, that we grow jobs in this city, that we focus on expanding technology and innovation, that we make certain that you, no matter where your lot is in life, you can grow right here in Little Rock.
Yeah.
You don't have to move to Memphis. You don't have to move to Dallas. You don't have to move to Atlanta. To my friends, my cousins that have, I want you to come back home. But I also want to make certain that when you come back home, you have something to come back home to.
Yeah, and it's funny that you said that, because I'm going to be honest, it's always been one of my struggles, staying here in the city with just the vision that I have, right? But at the same time, believing that it's necessary for me to be in the city so that my gifts and my talents of where I grew up, if everybody moves, then what happens? What happens to our senior population? My background is actually, my master's is in gerontology. What happens to our senior population? Who's taking care of them? If we complain about this younger generation of kids that we're saying they're lawless, or well, then who's pausing to pour into them?
But what we have to focus, something we haven't discussed yet, and is very important, is education.
I was going there. That was my last question
I
to
just
you.
want to make sure.
No, that's my last question to you, because I'm
sure.
going to be honest with you. The instability of our education, right, is why my kids are in private school. I didn't grow up in private school. I grew up in a very public school, and I did fine, right? But because I'm a single mom and I'm raising boys, and I needed to control the environment more, right? That's why that's one of the reasons my kids are in private schools. I do not trust the public school system to my kids, right?
And as mayor, I have to do what I can within the bully pulpit and within leadership to change that.
Yes.
So you don't have to make that tough decision.
Yeah.
And so, but at the end of the day, no one questions your decision, because you're the mother of those children, and you're going to do what's best for those children no matter what.
Correct.
And so what we have to do in the Little Rock School District, number one, we got to get our school district back.
Yeah, because
we got to get our school board back yesterday.
Yes.
And then secondly, from a city perspective, one of the things that I would love to do is to help. I'm a big proponent for a year-long school year. And so what I would like to help the city institute a summer academy. Basically, and it's optional but free.
That's good.
Optional for the student, free for the parent, optional for the teachers, but this would be extra pay for teachers. And so what we would do is focus on grade level reading, because you and I know that our grade level reading is not where it needs to be. It's here in the city of Little Rock. And you and I both know that prisons are developed based on the reading skills of the children in the pipeline.
If people didn't know that, you know it now. Yes.
I mean, and so we have to figure out how do we shore up that gap. And so this summer academy will focus on grade level reading from kindergarten to 6th grade.
That's big.
And then from 7th grade to 9th grade, we'll focus on grade level reading and STEM, which is science, technology, engineering, and math. And then 9th to 12th grade focus on the exposure to the world of work. And so what that does is we're making certain that our children, our youth, are busy, but busy being productive during the summer months.
And not just a summer program.
No, not a daycare.
Yeah.
A very productive program that's going to help educate our children.
And that's big and important. Now, it's funny because in my household, we have something called Johnson Academy in the summer, and my kids are always frustrated with me because we read, and we have to do math worksheets in the summer. We don't sit dormant because when you make the transition in, and I was a homeschool mom before we went into school, before Jermaine died, somebody said, yes, I'm contemplating moving. Arkansas is reasonable.
Come back
now.
now.
That's good. In the future, if entrepreneurship and employment get better in a year or two for a year, I will definitely stay there. That's big, and that's what we need. We need people to move back and move home.
And that's why I'm exploring this run for mayor. I want to make certain that you have something to come back home to.
Yeah, and that's so important, but definitely the education opportunities. I remember significantly, we lived in Southwest Little Rock, right? But we had the option for M2M transfer. And my school...
That's how we got to party.
My school was Chico for the boys. And I bused them, and it was early in the morning. I hated it, but I sent them to my mail because I knew academically they could get a better environment. I wasn't as wise as I am now. Probably now I wouldn't have moved them, and I would have become more active in that area, pushing some things. I know and understand the importance of a parent's involvement in there, and I wish, hindsight, I would have stayed and just pushed the school to be more. You know what I'm saying? Instead of busting.
But now you have that experience that you can share that wisdom
yeah.
and understanding with others.
Yeah, and I was glad even when they were talking about, no, we're not doing any more MTM transfer, even though it sounds bad. But how do we get in those schools and get those parents more active? And I know it's hard, especially when you talk about parents who work 2 jobs. I know socioeconomic status impacts a lot. We know that our local taxes are the things that funds our schools. You can definitely tell what side of Little Rock that you're on. That's my next thing to you. How do we keep this balance in our schools? If I'm in Southwest Little Rock and I'm out here on West Little Rock, the difference between Robertson and Chico are 2 different schools. And I know we are tax dollars, but what do we do, or what can the Little Rock School District do to develop something to create a balance?
Well, I think right now, and not to correct you, so Robinson's Plastic County Special School District, and Chico's Little Rock School District. So two different organizations.
Yeah.
However, we know right now that
take it to Pulaski. Heights.
but to Pulaski Heights, our school facilities are not where they need to be.
Correct.
I do know now that Superintendent Mike Poore is looking to figure out how we reshape that. We're excited about having the new Southwest Little Rock High School. That's going to be a game changer for our area of town. But we have to continue to figure out how do we redesign our schools, how do we refocus that at the same point. But again, we first got to have our school board back.
Yep.
We got to have the school board back. But then once we get that school board back, we got to make certain that we have individuals like LaKisha Johnson running for school board. And so we can keep that focus on making certain that everything is equitable at the same time.
That's important.
And so we want to make certain of that.
And I think it's important for life chances.
It goes again. So that's why we talk about not only are you being educated to vote, but let's make certain we all get out there and go serve.
No, and I believe
we gotta
that.
Go serve.
I think service. A lot of times we don't think we have enough to serve. One of the things that I am working on is I'm developing a program. God has given me this idea of how to teach mothers and socioeconomic status or issues or problems how to mentor their own kids. A lot of times a mom won't think she has what's in her to mentor her own kids. And so we'll have single moms who are not working who could be involved in a school, but they don't think they have the know-how. And so how do we build them up so that they become mentors in their own schools? And so I'm trying to flush that out. That's important. That's essential. In Pine Bluff, and you're going to kill me about Pine Bluff, and I know this because I've just been down there in church, but in Pine Bluff,
I thought we were talking about Little Rock.
I know, listen, 67%, and I'll find out the Little Rock stats, 67% of those parents who have kids in school are not working. You know? And so how do we do that? I'm gonna get better. We'll talk about that. How I need to find, but I don't like, the reason Pine Bluff caught my heart is because I'm in church down there.
Right.
Probably if I was in church up here.
That's what Greater Second Baptist Church.
He's trying to flood
8 o'clock.
Second.
We got 8 o'clock service. We got a 10:45 service.
Yeah.
Wednesday night Bible. So you come with us.
He's like, come on, the great. My pastor is gonna get you when he sees this. Going over to Greater.
Each one reach one.
I'm a licensed in ministry. Is that gonna work at Greater Second? second?
Come on by.
Okay, right. Well, if you're just logging in, this is Frank D. Scott Jr., my special guest. Leave the people with something from you, just something you want them to know.
Well, for the viewers who are just now tuning in, and for those who've already been tuning in, we've been talking about Little Rock reaching its true potential. I'm born, raised, still reside in Southwest Little Rock. I'm a product of the Little Rock Public School System. I'm a product of the city. I want to make certain that our city is unified, that we have a true jobs growth strategy, that no matter where you are in your lot in life, that you can grow here. I want to speak to our friends and families and loved ones who've left. Because we know that Little Rock is either a place of choice or circumstance. And for those that have become a place of circumstance, we want to make certain that your potential is realized, and those with a place of choice, that your potential is realized at the same time. And so what we do that by focusing on how do we have culturally competent crime prevention, how do we have quality schools and education, how do we make certain that the quality of life in Little Rock, I mean, today now millennials are choosing where to live before they choose where they want to work. So we have great ideas on what we want to do to change the city for the better, to make certain that the city reaches its true potential. I ask that you join me on this journey. Please check us out at frankscottjr.com. All of our social media handles is Frank Scott Jr. on Facebook, Frank Scott Jr. LR on Instagram, Frank Scott Jr. LR on Snapchat, Frank Scott Jr. on Twitter.
You snap? I can't snap. I
try to do it all.
Snapchat.
But the point is, I want to make certain that I earn your vote and earn your support. And I'm asking for your vote. I'm asking for your support. We're in the middle right now of the primaries. This mayor's race is on the November 6th ballot, but I encourage everyone, please, to go out and early vote right now. Go out, understand who you're voting for, and go vote. And then go take 10 other people, then ask them to take 10 other people. And again, it's all about reaching Little Rock's potential. It's time for new leadership. It's time for leadership that understands this entire city, understands the diversity of this city, understands the history of this city, understands where we need to take this city as far as the vision. And the vision starts by making certain that we have a jobs culture that's centered on technology, innovation, that's centered on minority entrepreneurship and development. It's centered on all kinds of entrepreneurship and development, that no matter where you are in your lot in life, you will grow right here in Little Rock and meet your potential, and I want to help us do that together. Thank you.
That's big. So how can someone make a contribution to your...
You can go to frankscottjr.com/donate.
Okay.
frankscottjr.com/donate. Please, I encourage, whether it's $2, $5, $10, $15, it all is very important, and it is very contributory to our overall development to fund this journey. We need you.
I am so grateful for this opportunity with you, just to be here. Like, I've been reading about you, we cross paths and I speak and you speak, but to be able to experience this and hear you up close and personal was big for me. I've had a couple people say, so glad you did this today, because if people haven't had a chance to connect with you publicly, then here they had the opportunity to hear you.
And I thank you for this opportunity. I mean, you have a wide following, and our journey, we want to connect with everyone. We want to be very transparent. We want to be very open.
My whole thing,
and connect with everyone. It's a new movement.
Yeah.
It's time.
Yeah, it's time. I agree. And we need to, especially for those of us that are people of faith, we can't just do what we do at church. A lot of times we think
we gotta get outside the sanctuary walls.
That's big. It's like we want to do just what we do at church and serve people at church, and it's like, no, you have to get beyond those walls and influence.
What does they go ye into the world?
Into the world.
Yeah.
Make a difference, impact the people around you. So that's very big. Well, that is it for today. I thank you guys for logging in. I see you guys back here Monday morning, 5 a.m. for the morning devotional. Frank D. Scott, if you don't know who he is, go find out. I'm impressed.
Thank you.
I'm very impressed. It's hard to impress me too, but I'm very, very impressed today. I'll see you guys back here Monday morning. Oh, wait. It's Mother's Day weekend. I have my I Love Mom cup.
Well, let me give my special shout out to my mother, because I wouldn't be sitting here before you today without Brenda Scott.
That's big.
She's the reason why I am who I am.
Yes.
I love her dearly. I would not be who I am without her. She's made a lot of sacrifices coming from the South End and had me at a young age, and my siblings. And I mean, I love her. I love you, Mom.
Oh,
I'll
that's
see.
big.
Well, Mama. I ain't gonna call you Mom.
Yeah.
You know I call you Mama. So, but I'll talk to you later. Love you guys.
Oh, and I love you guys, and definitely to my queen, who, man, she was texting me this morning, encouraging me. I just finished one of my first books, and she had read through it, and
Awesome.
hearing her just say to me this morning, "This book is amazing," was like, okay, you know, if Mama loves it, then I can move forward in this editing process. I let her touch it before I let the editor touch it. So hopefully I can shift this book to the editor next week and get this book released soon. You guys know what I'm about to say. I'm really, somebody else said they were impressed too. I'm really big on love. So you know I love you guys, and I need you to go be loved today. He said it best, love is an action word.
It's action.
So go put love in action, and I'll see you Monday morning. Love, peace,
Please.
and blessings.